where they specialize in repairing and servicing small appliances. Yes, we do it all. Toasters and toaster ovens, oil fryers, microwave ovens, small ovens, curling irons, flat irons, blow dryers, blenders, cake mixers, pressing irons, radios, fans and also radiator fans, and lots more. For more information, give us a call at 720-0199 or WhatsApp on telephone number 486-2920. We also do pickups at selected locations. The Repair and Service Shop located at Winsville in Soufriere. They do it all.
We are the bank of solution for every solution, building our future today. We are the bank of solution for every solution, with you every step of the way. Always there for you, serving you and me. The solution way, we like family. Always there for you, helping you and me. BOSL nous c'est famille. We are the Bank of St. Lucia for every solution. Bank of St. Lucia, all the bank you need.
COVID-19 has changed education. Let us take on the challenge head on. This changing situation calls to attention a new orientation. Parents, students, teachers, we are all in together.
Students, your education is your responsibility.
Parents, be closer and more proactive in this reality.
Teachers, innovate, recreate, show your practicality.
Students, no time to linger.
Parents, no time for hunger.
Together, we can conquer. This is a message from the staff of the Soufriere Comprehensive Secondary School.
This festive season, open a world of new digital experiences with the new GL3 Pro from Digicel, with a 5.5-inch screen to watch more Christmas classics, a dual 5-megapixel camera to capture more Christmas moments, and 32GB storage to store all that you love. Plus, now when you buy the GL3 Pro, you get a 30-day Prime bundle included to enjoy everything from blockbuster movies to chart-topping music to streaming live sports and video chats and so much more. Buy it for yourself or gift someone you love. Only $249. Visit a Digicel store or tent today. Digicel, better together this Christmas.
Have you ever got tired of searching or you need some more information? Did you know we're harvesting data for sustainable development into the future? Forest, land and water, environmental information open to all of St. Lucia. National Environmental Information System, harvesting data for our sustainable development. Visit us at www.neis.govt.lc. NEIS, information for everyone.
How was you heard? Heard what? Well, this program being broadcast on 88.5 Soufriere FM on Fridays from 10 a.m. Call, listen, get in on the discussion about community policing, traffic laws, criminal code, Children and Persons Act, theft, and anything you'd like to ask the police. Don't miss this informative broadcast on 88.5 Soufriere FM, the voice of the community.
Amay Soufriere, Conseil Jacques, Bouton, Choiseul, Laboui, Koute pour yon CG, à sous station Radio Sala, tous les jeudis pour Agricole en Mouvement et puis Philippe Sydney. Programme Sala qu'a indiqué, par information à sous tout projet agricole, pêche et puis l'autre CG. Changer, c'est Agricole en Mouvement, tous les jeudis, Koute, Mamaïla, Koute.
You asked for more live and relevant talk shows, and we heard you. 88.5 Soufriere FM presents House Guest, a brand new fresh fortnightly feature airing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. House Guests will showcase a cadre of professionals from doctors and entrepreneurs to the next door friendly neighbor. So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Sufra FM, your community radio station.
So for 10 minutes after the hour of 11 a.m. in Surface and Lotion, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. Yes, I'm here once again. Good morning to you. And we have a special guest with us in studio today, Mr. Father Smith Albert, or Albert Smith, correct me please. It's a pleasure to have you here. Good morning to you. And let's begin by saying, why are we wearing similarity in terms of our colors? But
good morning,
nonetheless,
everyone.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Today happened to be Ash Wednesday, so I guess you're very Catholic in your heart.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And yes, it is indeed Ash Wednesday, although I had to remind my colleagues that today was actually being observed as such. But nonetheless, I hope they do profit from this observance today to have ashes placed on their forehead and let that be a new beginning for them, well, for all of us.
Well, just a reminder that there is another mass at 5 p.m. this afternoon. We had one at 6:30, and the numbers were very impressive, very, very impressive. Wow. Yes, and there's a second mass this afternoon at 5 p.m. in Soufrière, and also 5 p.m. in the Jacques.
Okay, so you're calling on persons who are able to attend to do so.
All those who are willing and able, Catholics as known as non-Catholics, because Lent is not only a Catholic observance. Lent is something which surpasses barriers. It's a time of reflection, a time of the Christian community comes to reflect on how good God has been to them, and a time for special preparation in celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is Easter.
Thank you, Father. Understanding recently, the community of Soufrière benefited from the grocery hamper, if I'm correct, and based on what I was told, that it was organized by your parish, the Lady of the Assumption, Soufrière. So please share more.
I got a call from one of the principals of one of the schools, and was saying that certain children were not able to come to school because the parents had nothing to give them. So I think, in that regard, I think I need to thank 88.5, for carrying our masses live. So somebody in the US, called and said they wanted to give part of their first week of pay for January to charity. So there began the whole thing of being able to organize those hampers. So the person sent some money, and a friend of that person also sent some money, and so I also had some stuff that we got from Caritas St. Lucia. I'm not sure if you're aware of, there's this humanitarian arm of the church, Caritas, and it's throughout the world, but we have Caritas Antilles, which is based in St. Lucia, but then we benefit from it as well. So they usually give us food items, rice, peas, sausage, all kinds of things, cornmeal, and this kind of thing. So I had some of that there. And then two gentlemen from Soufrière, Sean Weeks and Avery Lionel, also contributed, because we did not only give them food. I like salaison, so I always like to give something complete. So we got 3 cases of leg quarters, and we gave each of the families a parcel of meat as well. So that was done through the generosity of persons here and abroad, and it is something that I'm hoping to continue. I did not do it with the intentions of continuing, but there are persons who said, every 3 months they can give something that can go towards needy families in the society. The thing is, it is very telling, the effects, the domino effects of COVID, and to realize that a number of persons They're not where they used to be. And there are some of us who have not suffered from COVID at all, because some people, their salaries have never been cut. When you look at public servants, when you look at other areas, number of persons, while their number of persons, their salaries have been affected, their number of persons, their salaries have never been affected. And at the end of the day, there are people who are willing to help. No matter how small it is, there are people who are willing to help. And then, so that is where the whole thing, one of my issues is that, if we call ourselves Christians, the basic thing is to look after each other. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, all your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And the Christian thing is to help persons out, is to look out for the other person, no matter how you do it, in what way, what quantities, and oftentimes we tell people it's the thought that counts. And I think, people, we have become so self-centered that we forget many times that we have a responsibility, not a choice. We have a responsibility to the other person, whether we like their lifestyles or not, whether we like them or not, whether we approve of them or not. If we call ourselves Christians, and Christianity surpasses boundaries, Catholic, Pentecostal, Jehovah, whatever you are, the whole thing of Christianity surpasses that. And we have a responsibility to the other person. So whether I like the person or not, whether the person is Jehovah, Catholic, Pentecost, we have a responsibility to look out to that for that person and the person's needs.
So you're saying no matter what denomination? Any denomination?
Any denomination. And that's one of the things with the Catholic Church. We don't look at denomination. We have this Caritas thing in Castries, and one of the complaints or one of the concerns of Catholics, some Catholics rather, is that, other religions get items before Catholics get items. But at the end of the day, that is what it is called. We are called to do as Christians,
I'm so happy you highlighted that, Father, because I'm yet to ask you, in terms of the pandemic and you as an individual, what have you learned?
I've learned not to take things for granted. If it's one thing, not to take things for granted. And it goes back again to our Christian values, that we are responsible for each other. So I may feel well, and I decide, well, I am not going to wear a mask because I don't feel sick, and why should I be wearing a mask and those kind of things. But because I care about the other person, I care about this person who may have preconditions. So I have a responsibility now to wear a mask because I do not want to endanger the lives of others. You understand? Now, one of the issues of society that I am grappling with, that I do not approve of, is our St. Lucian population has become very indisciplined, and at all levels. And it is something that we should worry about, because when you have an indisciplined nation, we are heading for trouble. Why this is happening, I'm not sure. But I think a lot of it has to do with poor parenting. That number of persons who have children, they do not know how to parent. They do not know how to raise a child. Raising a child does not mean that you give them the 3 square meals, you provide for them for the school needs and those kind of. That's not about. There's the emotional aspect of raising a child. There is the moral aspect of raising a child. There's the spiritual aspect of raising a child. And I think, as a nation, we have failed a great bit in parenting skills. So like I said in my homily on Sunday, some parents want their children to be their best friend. Your child can't be your best friend. Some parents want to be in competition, a dressing competition with their children, their teenage children. That cannot be. It just does not make sense. You understand? So there's a breakdown in society, but again, people talk about, well, the church shouldn't tell me what to do. The church is not telling you what to do. But where we were and where we are at today, what has happened? You know, and I want to reiterate, on Sunday I mentioned it, the church is the moral voice, the church is the moral conscience of society. And I think people fail to realize that. People fail to understand what is the role of the church. And some people say, well, it was developed to control the masses. Garbage. The unions were developed to control the masses. Was government developed to control the masses? You understand? So that the church has a specific role in society, you know, and then we proud ourselves by saying, you know, we are a Christian nation. We're not a Christian nation.
I want to say something. I think if persons was using the Bible as a manual, they would be asking those kind of questions.
But the Bible is supposed to be a manual because they're not using it. But you see, we don't read.
So that's why they ask.
We don't read because, you know, if you spell Bible, B-I-B-L-E, the basic instructions before leaving earth.
So it's like an acronym, like you just break it up.
Yes. So the Bible has everything that we need to know and we need to do, you know, and let's forget about the Old Testament, right? Because the New Testament is a fulfillment of the Old Testament. In Leviticus 11 it says, if you know about the law of unclean things. So do not eat what parteth the hoof and cheweth the cord and blah 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 blah. And that's what they call about unclean. But in Mark 16 it says, do not call what my Father has created unclean, because what goes into a man cannot make him unclean. It goes to your mouth, into the stomach, and into the sewer. It's what comes out of a man that makes him unclean.
True.
You understand? Yes. You know, so at the end of the day, if let's look at the New Testament. You know, the Old Testament said, you know, if a man slap you, slap him back. If they cut off your arm, cut off his arm back. If they juke your eye, juke the eyes back. That's what the Old Testament said.
Yeah.
But Jesus came with a new law, and Jesus says, you know, if the man asks you to go 2 miles, go 4 miles. If they slap you on your right, give them the left. You know, no, and that's what it is. But you see, we do not take these things. Let us forget about religion. Let us forget about politics. Let us forget about everything. And let us look at what the Bible is asking us. And if we dare to follow what the Bible is asking us, we don't need police, we don't need government, we don't need anything, because we will be what one of the popes call a civilization of love.
And again, like you're saying, less conflict resolution.
Of course, because I would not want for myself what I do not want for you. That's what it's supposed to be.
You have to be a brother's keeper.
Yes.
Agreeing to disagreeing, Father, I would say the Bible contradicts in terms of following the Old to the New Testament. You know,
the Bible does not contradict. Too many people who have not studied theology wants to interpret the Bible. Too many people. You have a whole set of fly-by-night churches. Where did they study? What did they study? The Bible is not a history book. You go and pick it up and you say, St. Lucia was discovered in what year and the volcano last erupted. That's not the Bible. That's not the Bible. You see, you have too many persons who claim that they are pastors and those kind of things, and they go and they take one verse. But what are the lines before that verse? What are the lines after that verse? Everything in the Bible is written in a particular context.
True.
Okay, when we look at the Gospels, you have 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke are very similar. And to the naked eyes, you cannot see the difference. And that's why they're called the Synoptic Gospels. They are very similar, yet very different.
Okay.
You know, when you look at Matthew, Mark, the works of Jesus are considered to be miracles.
True.
When you look at the Gospel of John, they're not referred to as miracles. They're referred to as signs. You understand? So at the end of the day, too many of us who have not studied anywhere, who do not know how to do some proper exegesis of the Bible, we want to be interpreting Bible and leading people.
You're sending me to my dictionary, Father.
That's okay.
Putting you under the bus. In recent times, we've seen where your preaching has come under much criticism in terms of not sticking to the doctrines itself, and I guess just hitting the nail on the head, and persons are saying you are not doing what you're supposed to do. I can pick, for example, Sunday when you spoke about the leprosy, and I think a lot of persons took offense to that. But then I saw through it in terms of the leprosy, where the Jesus cured the gentleman and said to him, do not repeat anything of what was said. And that was part of kind of honoring the commitment in terms of, yes, I have healed you, go out and then do not say it to anyone. But he did the total opposite. And it's just us in the society, us on an everyday living, when things are being said to us, whether it's the workplace, at home, or even a relationship with friends, we tend to take it all over the place and go against the person's wish. And even that is a leprosy, because being too talkative is a leprosy. Talking about jealousy, that's and even those different comments and stuff. And I'm saying, but we are matured citizens, and hence you spoke about independence, and the celebration is coming up, and we're supposed to be patriotic. And where is our patriotism with all those things coming into play? And you would be amazed to know this is a celebration, and persons are using that to vent and to speak about all sorts of things,
Let me tell you, whoever is saying I am not sticking to what I'm supposed to do, supposed to preach on, tell them report me to the bishop. Tell them, simple as that, report me to the bishop. You see, when one is supposed to preach, you are supposed to take, and that's why I said, many people do not know how to do exegesis. They do not know how to read scriptures, how to take what scriptures is saying to you and to apply it to our everyday living. If scripture is not being applied to our everyday living, then we have a serious problem. Now, the people who find I am not sticking to the text, they need to go home and clean their lives, because what I'm saying is appealing directly to them. That's the problem. Because at the end of the day, Father is not supposed to talk about gossip. Of course, gossip is an illness. John Paul II called it a culture of death. Gossip is one of the leprosies of today. In those days, we had the physical leprosy. We had the illness of leprosy. True. We do not have leprosy today. But what are the things, and what was the context of leprosy? If they listen carefully, the first reading, somebody with leprosy had to have their head disordered, the garments torn, and to ring a bell to tell everybody, unclean, unclean, give me room. Yeah. Because this person was supposed to live apart.
True.
What are the issues of the society today that causes people to live apart? Gossip, jealousy, lack of forgiveness, bad mind, dragging each other to the gutter. These are the leprosies of today. And if I do not preach it as a priest, I am guilty of what I was called to do.
A wolf.
Too many sheep in wolf clothing. That's what it is. So when people want to tell, oh, Father is not preaching what he's supposed to preach, by whose authority? By whose? 4 years I'm doing it. Not one day the bishop has called me and tell me you're not doing what you're supposed to. Not one day.
So that means you're doing a great job.
I'm doing my right thing. The last time I was at a meeting, and a deacon said, when I spoke about the $200 and whatever, and a deacon said to me, in the presence of the bishop, do you not think you could have said it some other way? And I said, no. And His Grace says, probably Father Albert is saying something that all the others are afraid of saying. I do not need anybody's permission to preach. I tell people I did not become a priest for friends. Okay? I had enough friends before I became a priest. I traveled the world before I became a priest. So I did not become a priest for that. I became a priest to preach the gospel in and out of season. And I know all of us are sinners. We all do things we're not supposed to do. But at the end of the day, that should not stop me from preaching what I'm supposed to preach.
Okay.
So what do they want me to preach? Hallelujah, everything is nice, you're all good, things are nice. That's what they want me to preach, but things are not nice. Things are not nice. We are going down a slippery slope as a nation, and that is dangerous. When you have, persons who show total disdain for the authority of the police, Total disdain. The preacher is not supposed to preach against that. Total lack of respect for authority. And some people said my homily on Sunday was political.
I was about to ask you, persons think you are leaning too much on political side. Now they've said,
yeah, but they need to educate themselves. Because what did I say on Sunday? I said, if you're going to disrespect the Prime Minister, the office of the Prime Minister, if you're going to disrespect the office of the opposition, we have a serious problem. Because these are positions enshrined in our Constitution. Tell people to do their research before they open their mouths. And I stand fully by what I said on Sunday. You know, people do not know anything about the Catholic Church. Tell people to go and read on the Catholic social teachings of the church and then come and talk to me. I was the one who went to school for it.
Can I just ask, Father, do you
just now,
think...
before I finish yet. You know, no, you see, because the Catholic social teachings of the Catholic Church was the first to encourage persons to get unionized. Do they know that? Do they know that? The Catholic Church was the first in the world because the industrial world in Europe was taking advantage of the workers. Okay? So the Catholic Church told the workers, go and form yourselves into groups that can bargain on your behalf. There is something called Catholic social teachings. Many priests don't speak about it. But I hate injustices. I hate it with a passion. And that is why that is one of the areas that I spend my time reading on so I can speak. I can speak from an informed position what the church says in these regards.
This is a lot to digest, and also you have brought a few things to light, and I think the most important thing is education, because you need to be educated so you can absorb whatever information that is being disseminated. So I do welcome that for sure. I am not just interviewing you as a priest, but an individual first off, because you are human before you became a priest.
Amen.
So persons are of the view, why are you so much into what's happening in the world in terms of the clap for your birthday, the music you listen to, the radio and then dancing and stuff? It is not supposed to be part of your thing.
Who is to determine that? By whose authority?
The community.
But by whose authority do they determine that? By whose authority? Just last weekend, my colleague in Trinidad, a priest, he was in a DJ competition. He was the English DJ, and the other priest was the Spanish DJ. Tell St. Lucians, wake up and smell the coffee. These are not the white men we got how many years ago. So tell them to wake up and smell the coffee. I am a cultured St. Lucian. So you will find me dancing solo. You will find me dancing La Rose. You will find me bouillet in Margaret. That is who I am.
But is that what is really written? Yes, you spoke of a constitution, but in terms of the priesthood, is that really allowed, Father?
Why is it not allowed?
No, I'm just questioning, is it?
The priest, okay. The priest, when we are baptized priest, prophet, and king, every Catholic. That's what we are baptized into. Priest, prophet, and king. So that is the common priesthood of Jesus Christ. However, we have what you call the ministerial priesthood of Jesus Christ. And the ministerial priesthood of Jesus Christ, men are called from the common priesthood into the ministerial priesthood of Jesus Christ. Why? To do certain things that the church requires. Okay? What is it that we shouldn't do? As far as I know, as far as, you know, we take a promise to the bishop, a promise of obedience, chastity, and poverty. A promise. Okay? Now, we have to understand when I say that is what we take. No culture or the priesthood or the Catholic Church does not debar anybody, any priest, from taking part in their culture. What makes them who they are. A few years ago, those nuns we have here, when the first set, when they came, they were based in Castries and those kind of things. And there was a rally. And, you know, when the music and the drumming, and they started gyrating and people went to report them to the bishop. But that is their culture. That is who makes them who they are. When I was growing up and, you know, those radio programs, what was culture? The things you do and how you do them. So the Journée Creole, the La Marguerite, the La Rose, these things are my culture. The séance, these things are my culture. What is sinful about those things? The carnival. In Trinidad, priests jump up carnival left, right, and center.
Speaking of carnival, I listened to your interview with Hot 7, where you spoke of your interests when you were a lot younger in carnival, and it was not too appealing in terms of your response. I'm here to ask
It was
you,
what? It was?
The interviewee was not. I think she was caught off guard in terms of, but Father, you were actually in carnival. You know, you care to maybe just share with us in terms of that experience?
There is nothing wrong with carnival. So Martinique had carnival yesterday.
Yeah, yes.
So Martinique had, because you need to understand the concept of carnival. Carnival in St. Lucia has lost its meaning when it comes to church related. Carnival, ideally, and I understand why we move because of economic reasons, but carnival comes Monday, Tuesday before Ash Wednesday. Yeah. And that is why Martinique has chosen to keep, and they had their hullabaloo and these kind of things, right? Because carnival is a culmination of all the festivities, because they will be putting this aside and they will be going into fasting and prayer and this kind of thing for the next 40 days. Martinique is still very Catholic. I was in Martinique, I think 2 years ago, and for 2 weeks for some youth activity. And when you see a morning mass here, you have 40 people in Soufrière. You have a full church. All kinds of people. I was in France in 2016 for Ash Wednesday. And I went into a restaurant. I was a deacon then, and I went to a restaurant to order something to eat before I'd gone to the Ash Wednesday Mass. And I was embarrassed. Because everybody and young people, what do they come to the restaurant to eat? What were they ordering? White rice, just white rice. And the church was bigger than the Soufrière church. And there was not even standing space for the evening Ash Wednesday Mass. So they still observe that Catholic spirit. We've thrown it off the window. There's nothing wrong with carnival. To jump carnival does not mean you have to be half naked. Look at when the French people come over. They're not half naked and they enjoy themselves just as us or even more. So we have followed Trinidad in that regard to our detriment because we are copycats.
You're correct.
We are copycats. Why is it some local person has not been able to develop a beautiful costume which is peculiar to St. Lucia? Why? But we're in a hurry to go and buy costumes from Trinidad, and they costing come $1,000. Et que par ham chicken back on Ash Wednesday. Or whenever the carnival is.
Thank you, Father. Let me ask, do you think that your preaching to date in the community has created much, dividance among, parishioners and Christians? And
no, the beautiful thing about my preaching, and I can boast, if I'm allowed to boast.
Certainly.
I am the only person on a Sunday now that has a population of probably close to 1,000 people listening to me.
And why do you think this is?
Because they're getting a message. Why do they keep on coming back?
Because some of them just love the soaps.
There's no soaps there. I don't know how you call it soaps. So what about all the Adventists, the streams of power that listen? Is it soaps for them? I met a lady in Viewfort. She's Adventist, and she says, I listen to your preaching every Sunday. When the preaching is finished, I'm not Catholic. When the preaching is finished, I go and do my housework. But I listen every Sunday because all what you're saying is true. we're afraid of change. As human beings, we are afraid of change. And I say, anybody who feel that I'm not preaching, go to the bishop, report me. Report me.
What if it should come to that? How prepared would you be to handle such?
How prepared
would you be?
You see, the good thing is that, and they can get the text from you all, because I think it's recorded. Go and tell me where I have gone wrong. If you cannot prove to me where I have gone wrong, if you cannot prove to me what I have said that is wrong, you don't have a case. You don't have a case.
Okay.
On Sunday, you know who was listening to my homily? A person in Zimbabwe was listening to 88.5.
So are you now saying you have gathered much fame because of what you put out there?
Much what?
Fame because of what you put
It's
out
not
there?
about fame, it's about doing the work of God. It has nothing to do about fame. It's doing the work of God. The message. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about God's work being done. You know, and it's one thing that I pray every day, that God uses me as his instrument.
I understand and I agree, but different persons have different interpretations, and I meet with different people who share their opinions, and they are of the view that although you preach, yes, but then it's more for the fame, because you gather the listeners, and what you put out there, people like the rural part, they like the gossip, the unfair part of it, and they find you so vanva as a priest.
I've been vanva from the time I left my mother's womb, so sorry they only now encountering me. That's the person I've always been. And if it's about the fame, what is in it for me? Nothing. There's nothing in it for me.
You said you got as far as Hot 7, and now you blazing, you eat, you lit.
No, I'm not it.
You're not lit?
It is God's work. The good thing is that, people are coming to conversion. And you can see it. People are their life stories. People are talking. People are talking about how the homily is helping them, how they're seeing things in a different light, from a different perspective. They have never seen it from that perspective. You see, because again, we need to understand. Our church is a church which grew out of, right, the FMI fathers. And the FMI fathers, when they came to St. Lucia, they brought with us what they had. But the local church is beginning to mature now, in the sense that, we are having our own local priests. And the own local priests, we are bringing to the table what we have, who we are. You understand? So at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's not. I'm not drawing attention to myself. I have been a community activist all my life. If you go to HTS archives, you'll see Charlie I've given to WASCO. If you go back to The Voice, how many editions, you'll see me on the front page with my placard, how you calling it, demonstrating against cable and wireless. So it's not about a priesthood. It has nothing to do with the priesthood. I am somebody, all my life I have been involved in church, but I've been very much a community activist as well. Injustice is not right anywhere. And that's what it is. And if as a priest I cannot speak against injustice, I'm a hypocrite.
Okay. Thank you so much, Father. Good morning once again to you, Sofra. If you're tuning in, welcome inside today's house guest edition. With me is Father Albert, as he's commonly known. At this time, Father, I will ask you to share more in terms of an event, am I correct, that you're slated to participate in on Saturday? The breakfast initiative?
I think it has gotten to lunch.
Okay.
The independence. Yes. Well, I got this call from, and again, it's not about me. I mean, I don't even know where people get my number from. But I got this call from the president of the Senate asking me whether I would be able and willing to participate, in the opening of the independence celebrations, I think over a 3-day period, and to do the opening prayer. And I said, well, anything for country. you know. And then I got this further call, said, you know, they would like me to take part, to be on the panel. I think it was the Morning Brew, but now it has changed because they pushed back the program to 1 o'clock. You know, lunch with Father Albert or something to that effect. You know, and it's basically a discussion and to give a message to the nation. I love St. Lucia. I love St. Lucia to bits. You know, I lived in Rome for 4 years, and every opportunity I got, I flew that flag. Every opportunity. When I went into the Vatican Square, my flag was on my head or on my back. I carried a large flag. I'm St. Lucian to bits. And you see, my thing is, you know, at the end of the day, as a religious leader, I still think I am in a position of influence, and I need to play my part so that we may become the nation that we really want to become. We can have all the investments in St. Lucia, and we have lost our moral compass. We're heading for trouble because we would not have respect for anybody. I was watching the news this morning, and some part of the US, I can't remember, where there's this hate thing against Asians. You know, this guy was running and just pushed this older man and hit his head and damaged him. And there's a rise in hate crimes against Asians. We should never get to that part. We should never get to that part. You know, we are St. Lucians. All of us are different, but we have a right to be here. And I think, you know, I mean, this is home for us. You know, and home should be second to none. I would love to see, you know, St. Lucia go back to some former days when it comes to religious observances and respect for the other person. I don't care what religion you belong to. If we who belong to the different religions adhere to what the scriptures are saying to us, our beautiful country would be a better place. And for me, that's the thing, you know, so that St. Lucia can be a place where people would want to come to live, where people would want to come to do business, because we are hospitable, we are mannered people, we above all, we have a sense of justice.
You almost tied in nicely to my other question would be, as St. Lucia sets to observe its 42nd anniversary on Monday, that is, and you did mention about community activists. And in terms of suffrage, let's look at it. What would you like to see? What form of transformation would you like to see happen in the years to come, if not now?
The transformation I would like to see in suffrage is that persons look out for each other more. Not in word, but in action. When you look at, and I say that because of my own experience of being in the church. We do not look out for each other enough. It is me, myself, and I, and that does not exist in the life of Christians. You understand? So we need to look out. We need to stop the division. There is too much division. There's too much alikasi. There is too much I say. This one say sa di mwetan sa. There's too much yo di. You know, kodima mwetan kait by kadi. Yo se buik jebia, buik la pa pale. There's too much of that. We need to truly look out for each other. We need to truly be concerned for the other person, the well-being of the other person. Let me tell you, I mean, when I was assigned to Soufrière, I spent 2 summers in Soufrière before I was officially assigned to Soufrière. So 2014 and 2015, my summer assignment was in Soufrière. And I was coming back to St. Lucia. I came back to St. Lucia in 2016. I know I was going to become a priest by the grace of God and everything. I had nowhere in mind as to where. And I said to the bishop, I will go wherever you ask me to go, because for me, nowhere is far in St. Lucia. You know, I live here, I drive to my parents' house, you know, and this kind of things. Nowhere is far. So, you know, but Soufrière has so much to offer to the wider St. Lucia. But we need to be able to come together and work together. Soufrière, you know, there is more than enough in Soufrière, even to help with the development of neighboring communities. But is it managed properly? The natural resources, is it managed properly? So I would really love, to see things better in Soufriere, to see that we are more concerned about each other, to look out for the other person, genuinely look out for the other person. And let's forget about creed, color, race, and political affiliation and this kind of thing. These things will not take us to heaven. These things will not take us to heaven. What will take us to heaven is how much we love our brothers and sisters. That's what will take us to heaven.
10 minutes to the above 12 noon in Surface Solution, the Eastern Caribbean. Father, you're here smiling, and I'm going to ask you, are you prepared, or will you, in terms of the vaccine, will you be vaccinated if need be?
Yes, I'm ready for it.
With no second thoughts? No.
Why should there be a second thought? What a number of persons, probably have reservations about, this vaccine was developed so quickly and blah, blah, blah. But we have to realize we are in the 21st world, the 21st century. So what would have taken us years to develop would take us less time now. Also, the amount of monies that has been generated towards this vaccine and those kind of things. I am presently doing a master's program. I have to go to school come June. I'll just be out for 3 weeks, at least, face-to-face tuition. I can't go to the US if I don't have the vaccine. And I don't see anything, because the vaccine is not only about me, it's about protecting the other person as well. It's about protecting the other person, So, while I think there is a need for more education when it comes to the vaccine, and education on all fronts and in both languages, I do my reading. I keep up with the news. I am a news fanatic, So I follow CNN. I follow Fox sometimes. I follow Kimono Lotsa, Al Jazeera, and this kind of thing. So I follow. I keep my mind open. I used to joke and I used to tell people, I'm waiting for the Cuba vaccine. I think that would be the safest, But
with so many vaccines now developing, we're not too sure which one is the safest. That's why I'm saying,
we need to trust.
Some thought
we need to trust.
I'm not too keen on taking it for sure.
Well, that's okay. But you know how hypocritical we can be. We have all kinds of questions. Then we board a plane. We don't even know who is at the helm of the plane. We board the plane and we're hoping that it will reach New York or the UK or somewhere. No katrasi?
That's different.
That's different. Because that plane can come down into the sea. I remember...
Yeah, but in the plane, according to different articles that you've read, it doesn't change your DNA. The plane, for sure. You see, you get cruising.
So do you have any proof that anybody's DNA has changed?
Not yet.
Okay, no. Not yet. Praise the Lord. Let's keep it that way. But if I have to take the vaccine, I take the vaccine. There's no problem. We trust God that He wants the best for us. And if I take it and it changed my DNA, probably that's what God wanted. He'll use me as a messenger for somebody else. No. I don't like to be pessimistic, because pessimism brings too much stress. Let's be optimistic. Let's look for the best of every situation.
True.
And make the best of it and live life. Just this morning somebody sent me something. I don't know if I can find it though. What did it say?
Whilst you're looking, just to...
Life is very short. So break your silly ego. Forgive quickly, believe slowly, love truly, laugh loudly, and never avoid anything that makes you smile.
Okay. Interesting. Just before you leave, we're narrowing down our time. Father, I would love for you to reiterate in terms of this evening's Mass for persons who may have missed it.
Okay, so the evening Mass at both Font Saint-Jacques and Soufriere is at 5 p.m. And just to let persons know or to kind of stress the point that, we have gone back to normal capacity, observing the 6 feet distancing, and family members can sit together. This morning the crowd was very impressive, and I invite as many persons as possible to come out and receive their ashes to begin their Lenten exercises. Fort Saint-Jacques is the same thing, 5 p.m. I'll be the celebrant in Fort Saint-Jacques. Father Setut will be the celebrant in Soufrière, and we're inviting everyone to just, let's journey together. Let's come together. One of the things, that I like to emphasize is that when we come to church, we don't come to pray for ourselves only. We come to pray also for our nation, for the best of our nation, for everyone who's part of that fair Helen, that sweet St. Lucia. So as citizens, we have work on our hands. We have serious work on our hands. So let's come, let's pray, and let's journey together. Somebody said, we're all in this thing together. Of course, we are all in this thing together. So all of us, we need to play our rightful roles in making St. Lucia what we would want it to become, in helping Soufrière to become, second to none. When I came to Soufrière, I said to them, any parish I'm involved in must be second to none. Once I'm part of it, we have to go somewhere. We have to take it to another level. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet. But I think when you go throughout St. Lucia, when you look at the work that has been done in the parish of Soufrière, where we at from where we were when Father Setut and myself come to Soufrière, we are second to none in the Archdiocese. It goes without saying. Sorry for the day when I will depart.
At that time, let me just say thank you. It has been a great pleasure to have you seated right here with us in studio and to share with us. Again, let me say this is not the first of our encounter, but I will be bringing you back definitely, because I still believe there are a lot of chapters you've not even opened as yet, So I will be bringing you back. Any last words you wish to share with the listening audience, feel free to do so.
Well, I want to encourage everyone, not to be selfish. I was watching a video from a doctor that is circulating from Barbados. And, this whole pandemic thing is serious business. Let us observe the protocols. Let us do what we are supposed to do. And, for me, let's forget about political affiliation. Let us forget about everything else. Let us take this thing from an angle of being a Christian. What is the whole thing of the Christian? You should not want for somebody else what you do not want for yourself. And if we look at that, if we look at it from that perspective, so let's observe the protocols, let's do the washing of hands, and it goes back to the basic things that we were taught when we were much younger. Somebody sent me something some time ago, and it's from the scriptures, in the olden days, from the Old Testament, when somebody was infected. It's basically the thing, the washing of the hands, the 6 feet distancing, and those kind of things. So these things are all in the Old Testament. And if we claim that we love God above everything else, let us do it for the sake of the love of God and the sake of the love of neighbor. Let's be safe. Let us be. I cannot emphasize it enough. And this level of indiscipline that is pervading, that is taking over our country, we need to arrest it. And we need everyone from all aspects to play their rightful role, so that St. Lucia can be the beautiful Helen of the West that it used to be. Okay. Thank you.
And to you, I will say, when the second leg of the initiative takes place, give us the hookup.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Much. Thanks for having me.
Have a blessed and productive day.
Merci.
The feature airing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. House guests will showcase a cadre of professionals, from doctors and entrepreneurs to the next door friendly neighbor. So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Soufrière FM, your community radio station.